So we're going to go through some of your best drips this year so far, and I want you to just tell me some of the thought behind everything.
As my favorite designer, favorite brand, that is Emily Bodie from Bodie. That is a jacket by her with double patch Carhartt jeans. Got some Chrome Hearts accents in there, which I love to wear.
Do you believe in clutch?
I think emotion kind of plays into how people might be viewed as more or less clutch.
Have you been paying attention to the Knicks and the Nova Knicks and seeing like 3 college teammates just like absolutely electric? And like, do you relate to that at all?
You know, Pete and I picked up immediately in terms of, our synergy from UF days. And we're seeing it as, evident, as you said, with the Knicks, and those guys just have really good chemistry together. And listen, down the stretch, when playoffs, when really anything can happen, chemistry is really kind of what leads those clubhouses to victories.
Hey, what's up? It's Vito Calisi and Jonathan Barron from Meet at the Apple, and we're here with Harrison Bader, our old buddy from spring training.
Old?
Well, I mean, we met at spring training. We were all vibing out. We were having a good time. I meant old in a good way, like our long old friend.
Yeah, it does seem like that. We did hit it off so well that it feels like we've known each other for so long. So I'll take that for now.
Let's just jump right into it. Have you and Pete spent a little bit more time together after you kind of exposed yourselves as at least not being as close as Vito and I?
We did have really long phone calls.
Some practice
and
sessions.
long night talks about how we need to be better. But, listen, we're locker mates in Citi Field, so we have plenty of time now to brush up for the next round. I know we'll be ready. We've grown a lot since college, so now he knows what wavelength I'm on, so
good.
We'll be better next time.
Now, you guys obviously college teammates. Have you been paying attention to the Knicks and the Nova Knicks and seeing like 3 college teammates just like absolutely electric? And like, do you relate to that at all? Like, do you see that and go like, oh, we're doing the same thing over here right now?
Yeah, it's actually funny you said that. I absolutely see that. There's something very funny about this game and basketball. I just mean sports in general, how they really are full circle. You just never know who you're going to run into as a coach or a manager or a former player in high school, college, summer ball. So, those relationships on the baseball field are really special. And if they're very good ones, they really do remain kind of maintained for the next time you guys get an opportunity to play together and pick up. So, Pete and I picked up immediately in terms of, our synergy from UF days. And we're seeing it as, evident, as you said, with the Knicks, and those guys just have really good chemistry together. And listen, down the stretch, when playoffs, when really anything can happen, chemistry is really kind of what leads those clubhouses to victories. And I think we're seeing it with the Knicks, which we're all rooting for.
And we're seeing it with you guys as well. And speaking of teammates and former friends, you just played the Cardinals, the first team you played for in the big league, so I'm sure you have a lot of buddies over there. And you had a massive hit. Down to the last strike, a game-tying single. And we've talked about this with Brandon and Carlos, just the resiliency that this team shows day in and day out. What's your vantage point from that perspective?
The name of the game is just to kind of trust yourself and just stay in the pocket and show up when the game presents you with an opportunity to potentially be successful. And I think, knowing that as we kind of felt that game out, that something was going to come down to it. It just kind of was a matter of which guy on what side was going to get that opportunity to do something. And listen, I think, having a little history, knowing the way the Cardinals play and how they kind of attack, I think I just kind of stayed in the pocket and just got a pitch I could handle and just put a short swing on it. The pitcher had really good stuff. He's got a lot of life on his fastball. So just thinking super small for my team and just trying to, put my best foot forward, not trying to be a hero, just trying to do my job. I think we got a lot of guys that just kind of do their job on the team. And, we'll have our moments where we get really hot and our stretches where we get really hot, but it's during those times where you're not hot or where things aren't necessarily going our way collectively or individually. Are we still finding a way to win? And we saw that, during that game specifically with a guy who just got called up and was thinking small for his team and had a big result. So, when we broke camp, we knew that the team in there was not going to be the team that was every day. We're going to have guys that are going to come in. We're going to have guys that are going to step up. Unfortunately, guys might go down, but it's what you do behind the scenes to be ready for those moments. So, listen, I love it. We live for those little moments, and we just try to string them together as best we can.
And that single, that was one of many big hits you've had, to the point where Vito and I started calling you Big Hit Bader. So I don't know, you can tell us what you think of that nickname, but the hit that broke up the no-hitter and eventually, helped you guys get off the schneid in that game and you guys get your first win. The go-ahead double against Chapman. The line drive in the box score against the Royals with the bases loaded in the 8th inning. And then the game-tying hit. You see what I did there. and then the game
I
tying
appreciate
hit.
that.
Do you believe in clutch? Or do you believe in just, good players, cream rises to the top eventually over time?
Yeah, listen, I think I think emotion kind of plays into how people might be viewed as more or less clutch. That word, what's more clutch or less clutch about about that same hit in the first inning, just because the game's coming to an end. So I guess what I'm getting at is I believe more so in opportunity. And, sometimes a game opportunity might be a little more nail biting, but at the end of the day, it's just another opportunity to go out there and take your at bat, put a good swing on a baseball, and do something for your team. And again, I really do try to view everything in this game as just a single line. And what I mean by that is, there are not 9 innings. There are not, one game at a time. Everything is just a continuous form, if you will, where you just go up there every single time, you take your at-bat, you play your inning on defense, you steal your bag when the game gives you an opportunity. And over the course of a season, if you keep your head down and just focus on just being present in those individual moments as they present themselves, I think you shape up to have a pretty good year. So, I try not to put more emphasis on any more situation than the next. I just try to, be the best version of myself for my team, which is, keeping it tight, staying focused, staying in the pocket, and just being prepared for that moment to do something big.
It's impulsive.
How long have you been waiting for that one?
I actually just came.
He woke up this morning.
Just
and he was like, I got to make sure I get that one in.
I love it.
All right, Harrison, so your game starts from the second you walk into the building. Here at Citi Field, we do this thing called the drip report, where we show players walking in and show the outfits they have on. And right now, I think you're the team leader in outfits. So we're going to go through some of your best drips this year so far, and I want you to just tell me some of the thought behind everything.
Yeah, I love how much we put into fashion. I love it. We got a lot of fashionable guys on this team. I think it's a lot of I think it's a lot of fun. I love how we showcase it. Let's see here. Where do you want me to start?
Just anywhere. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, this is this was early in the year. It was cold. I had a big jacket on. I jump around brands. I try to stay away from like super big fashion houses because there's a lot of really talented designers out there who are much smaller and up and coming, and they put a lot more attention and detail into their work, and they make it far more limited, and the access is much more limited. So I hop on some really good designers. That was a Badson. Shout out to Badson. It's one of their jackets, and those are hidden New York pants. So
I'm gonna jump to my favorite one.
Right.
I came up to you this day, and I was like, yo, that was an electric outfit.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was a good one, dude. I think MLB retweeted this one. It was so
They
good.
certainly did.
That is that's my favorite designer, favorite brand. That is Emily Bodie from Bodie. That is a jacket by her with some vintage distressed cargo or double patch. Sorry, not cargo, but double patch Carhartt jeans. Got some Chrome Hearts accents in there, which I love to wear. What kind of shoes we got there? Oh yeah, we got some Guidi, some Italian boots.
You got mean shoes on right now,
I
too,
got some
dude.
good ones on. Yeah, thank you.
The thing
Like
about
my
you
boots.
and your drip is that it's very versatile. Like none of these are alike. And I saw you in the clubhouse last week wearing a teal suit. These guys were telling me about a pinstripe suit.
Yo, your pinstripe suit in LA, the
green
double-breasted
pinstripe
one?
Yes.
The double-breasted one you put on the elevator when you were at the
That
hotel.
one was fantastic, yes.
Dude, yeah, and then let's even say,
Fantastic.
even when the dude is casual, even when he's just wearing like athleisure, just crushing it. We'll talk about this one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Some like oversized black pants, just a normal casual lilac hoodie because I wanted to accentuate my batting gloves. By the way, get your lilac Bruce Bolts beta series coming out soon.
I've gotten a lot of texts from people about how much they like your gloves.
Thank you. Then we got some throwback. I was feeling a little nostalgic. I got some Virgil Air Force Ones on from a number of years ago, and playing with some colors, like some blues and some greens in there with the little duffel bag that I brought there as well.
So how does City connect with the purple especially? How does
Oh,
that
that's
allow you
awesome.
on the field to express yourself even more and work in different colors that you normally wouldn't be able to?
Yeah, I think purple's awesome. I think it's a great color. Actually, throwback to like the very first time I saw that lilac purpley color was when we signed Nolan Arenado. The very first year he got to the clubhouse in St. Louis, he had his Nike custom apparel.
From the Rockies.
Yeah, and he had like this like lilac purpley color that was kind of accentuated in all of his stuff. And I was like, that's a dope accent. Because you don't want too much of something. You want just enough. And I remember just seeing, the color there, being like, that's something good. And I kind of put it back there. And then now we kind of get it full circle with the City Connects. You get some purple in there. Bruce Bold already has a very intense purple as it is. So I kind of wanted to go a lighter color. Play with the shades a little bit. Yeah. So, I have more of a lilac, but, get like a lilac purple, a dark purple. But again, it's all in fun. It's actually funny because people always ask me, they're like, Bader, why do you always wear like the most plain cleats, right? Because like my cleats, if we're all white uniforms, I'll wear all white cleats, right? And if we're all gray uniforms, I'll wear like all grays. And everyone's like, why do you do that? Why don't you wear like custom cleats, this and that? And I'm like, well, because honestly, I don't have a cleat deal. I don't have a shoe deal. My shoe deal is a glove deal, and I don't want any attention getting pulled away from my batting gloves, which are bright and loud. So my cleats are just like plain Jane, like nothing.
And they didn't ask you to do that. You're doing that on your own.
Yeah, but no, I buy my cleats from.
You're thinking like 3 steps ahead.
From Sports Authority. Are they Sports Authority still around?
No, Modell, Sports Authority.
Nothing's around anymore.
Dick's is around.
See, that's okay. So yeah, I'm getting them off the shelf.
Sure.
But the point is if you're gonna look at me, you're gonna see, the normal uniform, the regular pants, the regular cleats, whatever, no crazy socks, and all the attention is gonna be on the Bruce Bolts, which is all that matters.
What about the watch?
Not a Bruce Bolt.
They don't make those yet?
They're on their way. But
they're on their way.
No, but just what is the watch?
I don't like throwing name brands around. It's just this is a nice.
Does it start with an R?
Nice watch.
It does not start with an R.
Okay.
That's the only one he knows.
That's the only one I know. I mean, it's a fine guess, I think.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a nice watch.
This is an Apple. It tracks your sleep.
Why is your heart rate so high right now?
Because dude, I'm around my favorite Met.
Oh, I love that. Good answer. Yeah, I think it's always fun too. Here, you want to take that back over there? I think it's always fun to kind of like wear some cool clothes, but then you toss some like details in there, little accessories, a watch here and there. So
yeah, it's a stylish team. I mean, you got
we
Francisco.
Do very stylish. Yes.
Does everyone try to not one up each other, but does one person's swag and drip inspire the next guy?
What's so great about this team is everybody has their own swag, their own style. Pete rolls in. That's his style.
Doing his thing.
Francisco, that's his style. A lot of guys have their own way of dressing. Listen, it's what makes us feel comfortable. It makes us feel good. It's how we show up to work. We're going to work every day. That's what it comes down to.
You and Pete wore full suits on the plane instead of the Nike track suits that everybody else was wearing. Traveling in suits that's ballsy.
I like it.
Yeah, but you don't do that. I've seen what you wear. You wear Lululemon onto a plane.
Well, it depends on where I'm going.
Was that? Did you bring that up to him, or were you already in agreement of we're going to wear suits? Like, was that a mutual decision, or were you the suit pusher?
Yeah, listen, my thing with that is it can be challenging to travel in suits for long hours and everything. But if you have a good tailor, then it makes it a lot easier. And so with that said, we have very good tailors who make it very comfortable for us. And yeah, listen, I think with the Cardinals when I was coming up, I was very young. It was our standard with Yachty and Waino. You wear a suit, plain and simple. You wear a suit. We go on the road. We show up in that city. We absorb that energy. We show up. Like we wear a suit. And other teams didn't necessarily have that rule, which is fine. But getting back to that, I told Pete from day one, I'm like, I'm bringing my suits back. We're going on the road. We're gonna own our energy. We're gonna roll in there. We're gonna do what we do. I'm wearing suits. He's like, I'm down. I'm doing it with you. And to his credit, every single trip, whether it's home, middle of the night, in between road trips, he's in his suit. So if I got my guy doing it with me, I feel better about it.
We'll wear suits next week too.
Yeah.
All right. See, but you got to come with it though.
I have a tailor. My tailor used to be Don King's tailor.
Oh damn!
Yeah,
really?
I'm not kidding.
In Astoria?
No, in New York City. The guy that did my wedding suit is an old Italian man, Larry.
Love that.
He did Don King suits. Very nice guy.
Can you put me on?
You can find a guy.
My tailor used to be my grandpa.
You can find a guy.
We got New York City. Got we got tailors everywhere.
He can go to like Men's Warehouse or something.
Nah. You can't get custom there.
Can't get custom.
Hey,
there.
I wear a suit. I get 4 hits like you did in LA. We'll see what happens.
Hey, let's just try to do that as often as we can.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Harrison, thanks so much for meeting us. at the Apple.
Thank you, guys.
Make sure to listen, subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. Leave some comments.
You following yet? You subscribed?
What platform?
Apple, Spotify,
yeah.
YouTube.
Any of them?
I got to check my subscriptions.
All right.
Harrison Bader's
back
going
to
to
us.
subscribe. You should too. That was a fun interview with Harrison Bader, right, John?
It was, and I'm going to say this. For any Met fan who wants to be upset that Harrison did not make the play in extra innings on Sunday, Harrison is one of the most full throttle and just all-around talented players, especially center fielders. And I say that with emphasis because that is a very, very important position for a Major League ball club, and a lot of teams cannot fill that spot. And you look around the major leagues, Harrison Bader, all in, is a top 10 center fielder for what he provides you, not just defensively, but also at the bottom of the lineup, getting on base the way he does. And he's the man, and he's so easy to root for. So how could you not love a guy like Harrison Bader, who is now for, what is that, the fourth time? Joined the show.
That was third time. He was a third timer, which the only other person to hit 3 times on any podcast was Mike Vassell, which that interview went up last week. So that was the first meet at the Apple 3-timer.
It was. By the way, is it Vinny or is it Vito with an E or is it VI? What is the actual? I'm confused now.
So you're referencing that I went to a bat mitzvah last night. My name was spelled incorrectly on the nameplate, which I found pretty funny. And then
That's not all I'm referencing. That's not the
you're
only
also
thing I'm referencing, though.
You're also referencing on the Mike Francesa podcast. He referred to us as Jonathan and Vinny, which I'm sure you were pumped about because not only did you get your request of being referred to as Jonathan, but I also got called Vinny.
So no. All right. So someone I had gotten like 3 texts on guess it was Friday morning that Mike Francesa had mentioned us on his podcast. And I obviously went to hear it. I was on the way to taking my daughter to her 1-year-old photos. We had like a little photo shoot. And we're listening to Z100. And I tell my wife, like, put on the Mike Francesa podcast. And she's like, why? And I'm like, just scroll to 15 minutes. Just hurry up. And she does it. And I hear it. And I hear him say Vinny. And I was just like, Mike, no.
He said Vito in person, so that was cool.
You think you get the Italian name right.
I know. And like my name is like the one you don't hear every day. But now we're the Meet Me at the Apple podcast with Jonathan and Vinny. But it was still cool. I mean, I still knew it was me. And it was sick. And just one more thing I want to say about Harrison Bader for anybody who does want to be mad about the end of the game. Also, just how about the amount of plays he made within that game?
Yeah, I mean, he was great all weekend for the Mets. Look, it was, I guess we could just get into it now. A tough weekend. Like, what else is there to say? You know, the Mets lose 3 games. Yeah, a total gut punch, especially coming out off of the walk-off win against the Cubs. But I think that Howie Rose put it perfectly on Friday night. He called it a 3-ring circus down there at Tropicana Field. And you have obviously the rings up in the ceiling, up in the roof, and that became a big topic of conversation when Brett Beatty's home run was lost by Harold Ramirez on Friday. And it's just get the hell out of there. There's someone in our control room. I'm going to shout out Orrin Barfield, who he uses this expression in a different way, but he refers to extra innings as carnival baseball. And I feel like playing at Tropicana Field in a way is carnival baseball, between the rings and the turf and just the general cement. And I feel like everyone that's involved in the game is on edge because you never know when a ball is going to be hit and you just don't know what's going to become of it. Like Jose Siri loses Brandon Nimmo's line drive off the bat, first batter of game 2 in the series. You know, like it's just, I don't want to say it's a joke. It's not a joke. It's just a variable overall. And, you know, the Mets lose 3 closely contested games. Of course, Edwin Diaz allows a home run that barely gets out. I think it was 94.7 off the bat. So, you know this. I guess I'll let everyone else know this. I was at the Garden today, game 1, round 2, and I sent you a photo, Vito. The Met game was on a monitor right in front of me.
You were
And,
lucky. You had some lucky seats.
Seriously, right? Yeah. And I want to shout out Gloria, who's a diehard Mets fan who was sitting right in front of me, who, when Sean Reed-Foley got out of the eighth, me and my buddy Jeff gave out a big "Let's go Mets," and she turns around and she tells us how much she loves the Mets, and obviously, we're all there rooting for the Rangers. Unfortunately, I got to watch the ninth and the 10th inning, but that homer just gets out. I mean, what an unlucky home run to allow. 94.7 off the bat. If you look at home runs and exit velocities, that ball never gets out. So it was just one thing after the next this weekend. That, I know it sounds like an excuse, and yeah, Jon and Vito were just making excuses, but like, what more can you say? It was just one unfortunate thing after the next this weekend. It really was.
It's just, that's baseball. I mean, that's like the only thing you can say about that.
That's
baseball. That's ball, Jonathan. That's baseball, Jonathan.
There you go.
But there's not much more you could say about that. I mean, like, we work for the team. We're also fans of the team, and like, we know just as well as you all do. Like, weekends like this aren't the best. Like, it sucks to turn on the game 3 nights in a row and see 3 losses in a row, and especially in this one where like Edwin comes in and you're like, okay, cool, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna skate out of here with 1. Like, that feels great, and then it doesn't go that way. But like, it's a long season, and I mean, they're still they're a game below 500 now for the first time since the beginning of the season, but it's fine. There's a lot of time. They're going into St. Louis this week. It's early in the season. It's just we feel like you guys, like it's gonna happen. It's a long season. You're gonna have tough losses, but we have a lot to look forward to because, as you saw this weekend, Christian Scott looked phenomenal. I mean, what more can you ask for from a rookie debut than what Christian Scott gave you on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, Scott was phenomenal, and I think that any Mets fan that either doesn't listen to Future of Flushing or doesn't keep up with the minor league system and isn't super familiar with what's coming, was very happily surprised with what they had. I mean, the 4-seam fastball, the zip, and you heard Adam Wainwright, if you watched the game, talk about, he said whether it was anecdotally or whether it was serious, that he could hear that 4-seam fastball zip by through the air. That the IVB, the induced vertical break on that pitch, the way he blew it by so many hitters was impressive. I saw the stat. It was tweeted out on Saturday night. He had the most whiffs induced by any Mets starter in an outing this season. The 4-seamer, the sweeper, the slider were all disgusting. The way that he battled out of a jam, of course, in the first inning, he strikes out Randy, and then the very next pitch induces a double play ball off the bat of Harold Ramirez, and then he cruised from there. And, it was great to see the family, his dad sitting right behind the Mets dugout, which was awesome. Scott looked the part. He felt the part. He is the part. He's a really, really good, talented pitcher. And it's great that the Mets are not letting that talent, I don't want to say go to waste out in AAA, but they're going to utilize that talent to help them win ball games up at the major league level, what you would think would be for the rest of 2024. So as far as the first start of Christian Scott's career goes, it doesn't get much better. Was hoping for that final out because we're going to have a great stat that he would have been the first Mets starter to go 7 innings or more in his first career start since Steven Matz. But Mendy went out there and got him at the right time, by the way. Mendy got him at the right time. He was laboring a little bit in the 7th, was hovering right around 100 pitches, but a brilliant outing. And look, there's more behind him. You want to get into guys like Blade Tidwell, who had the longest start of his career for Double-A Binghamton over the weekend, 9 strikeouts, or a guy like Joander Suarez, who this past week came in relief of Tyler McGill, who made a rehab start for Double-A Binghamton and threw 6 1/3 perfect innings. This is a guy who started his Double-A career with 20 somewhat consecutive scoreless innings through a no-hitter in his first ever Double-A start. 7 inning, by the way, but still impressive. A guy like Dom Hamill, a guy like Brandon Sproat, whose ERA is under 1, so on and so forth. So this is just the beginning of the Mets pitching. I don't want to say the pitching lab necessarily producing the fruits of the labor. Eric Jager is a big part of that, but there is a lot more behind Christian Scott, who really showed off, and cannot wait for Christian Scott to make his first Citi Field start, Vito. I know that there will likely be a Back to the Future or two reference, which I have never seen, but I'm sure you can tell me all about the movie.
Oh, I can give you a bunch of strikeout drops if we want to keep doing the Sevy type.
How many
thing.
have there been, by the way, Back to the Futures?
3.
Which is your favorite of the 3?
I mean, number 1 is the best one, but there's a part in number 2 that, like, when you're a kid is really special. I don't know how you'll feel about it now. And part 3 gets a lot of hate, but as I've gotten older, I've appreciated 3 more and more. I mean, if you want to borrow them sometime, I have them on 4K Ultra HD. So, like, you pop those into the PS5, you have a great time. But yeah, I mean, look, there's a good chance Christian Scott debuts this weekend against the Braves, right? Like, that's just the way the rotation looks like it could come together. And, like, this is going to be a super exciting weekend at Citi Field because you have the Tumblers this weekend on Mother's Day, I believe. You also have the London bobblehead on Saturday, and it's the Braves. You have Mother's Day Sunday Night Baseball. You're playing the Braves all weekend. We could see the debut of just a future cornerstone of the Mets starting rotation. I mean, like, it's going to be really fun at Citi Field this weekend. And what we need most is for fans to not let losses like this get to you and still show up to the ballpark excited and ready to root for the team. Because we talked about this, the energy against the Cubs this week, even on that Monday night game that they lost, there was people packed in the stadium. It was a really fun game and vibes were high. And that's what the team needs.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound maybe ridiculous, but I don't really care. I've said more ridiculous things in my life. If you go on the MLB app right now and you check the standings, and I know it's May 5th, John, it's Cinco de Mayo, I'm enjoying my margarita, leave me alone. The Mets are 1 game out of a playoff spot right now.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's not, because the key for not just the Mets, but all the other teams in the hunt right now is to stay in touch.
Yeah.
You want to stay in touch, and that is what a third wild card spot has brought to the sport. And I'm not saying that we strive to be the last wild card spot, but for a fan who's going to get dejected and say, I'm going to focus on something else. Look, I get you got the Knicks, you got the Rangers. That's all good. But this Mets team, there are very seldom nights, very few nights where you turn the game on, whether it's a home game or a road game, and by the 4th inning, you're like, I'm out. This is done. Because this team stays in the fight. We've heard multiple guys come on this podcast, Vito, and say that. And since the first guy to say that, Brandon Nimmo, we've seen nothing but that. You saw it on Friday night. That game, they go down 7-3, gut punch, right? Nope, they fight back. So this, don't let this weekend get you too down. The Rays are, look, we know about the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays have been one of the best teams in baseball for a very long time now. They're off to a slow start, but the Rays are still a good team. It is what it is, Vito.
Yeah. And I mean, just let's think about all the teams. Let's think about all those Mets teams that if there was a third or even second place wild card team, that this team would have went to the playoffs. So just think about the amount of seasons where that could have changed everything. And just think about how bad some of those seasons, how bad points in those seasons were. And I don't think this season, like, other than the first week, which was like, look, like, let's be honest, the first week was tough. Like, there's no way to get over that. That first week, it felt like it was like you just, as a pessimist, you're like, are the Mets ever going to win another game again? And obviously that's a crazy thing to think, but you're thinking it in that time. So yeah, look at the standings and just keep in mind of the fact that, like, you're a game out. That's all you need. You just need to pretty much until the All-Star break. You really just need to stay around 500. And then after the All-Star break, that's when the Jets have to go on. And that's when you have to go full throttle and just really make a push for it. But right now we're in the hunt. We're in the race. And it's going to be a fun weekend at the ballpark. And I'm looking forward to it. I mean, like, just beat the Braves. And we got new cool light stuff.
Yeah, and before that, you want to take care of the Cardinals. The Mets lost a couple tough games to St. Louis last week.
Vengeance.
Yes, and look, there were 2 games where things slipped away a little bit in early innings of the games, and the Mets pushed back and did a good job. And you want to avoid that, of course. And we have every reason to believe that the Mets will do that this week in St. Louis before they return home. So that's the beauty of baseball. You don't have to wait 1 full week. You blow it on Sunday and you have to wait till next Sunday like the NFL. Or sometimes the NHL, NBA, you lose a tough one. You have to wait 3-4 days. No,
No.
We're going to get right back at it tomorrow. The Mets are on the plane. They're going to St. Louis. They're going to face a team that they know that they can handle. And, like I said, one game out of a playoff spot right now. Just stay in touch with that. We haven't even hit Memorial Day. It's a long summer. It's a competitive team. It's a lineup with a lot of fight in it. We know how good this team is at preventing runs on its best day. Couple tough games in Tampa Bay, but that's it. Goodbye, Tropicana Field. Don't want to see you again. What else is there to say? Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What'd you watch this afternoon?
I watched the Mets game.
What about at 4 o'clock?
Actually,
I mean, it was a long game. That was a long game.
It was a long game. It was a long game. There wasn't that much Ranger game left, but like after the Mets game, I just started doing some edits, working on the Harrison Bader interview that everybody saw before this. Because I wasn't in the mood to watch the Rangers game. I just want to get work done. I want to have like a good night's sleep, get to sleep early, not stay up late. But John, I do want to ask you a question.
Let's hear it.
Bobby brought up a while ago that he was going to give you stuff for your walls, and like, I really think you need to take him up on that offer. It's been distracting. If you're listening to this on the audio version, please go over to the YouTube version and look at John's just, I'm going to say, terrifying background. What could you describe what's right behind you? Is that two young ladies in red dresses playing the violin? I can't tell.
So, I thought you were going to ask me something else. No, that looks like two Yentas on the phone with each other. Yentas, for all those who don't know, is a Yiddish word, which means gossipers.
They're on the phone?
Yeah, those are like wire rotary phones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's going on with what's the picture next to it?
That is I believe my wife got that from my mother-in-law for Mother's Day, which reminds me that I need to get a present for my wife because it's her first Mother's Day. So
It is her first Mother's Day.
thank you very much for pointing that out because that just clicked in my mind to take care of that.
And what better for her than you being at Citi Field for the game next Sunday?
It is a night game at least, so we do.
I'm pumped about that. I actually get to spend the day with my mom, my wife, her mom, and grandma, and like not feel like a dirtbag because I have to just run to work.
It's going to be a long night for us.
But it's also good. Like, honestly, look, if you're a mom, you get to go to the game and it doesn't like totally impede on your Mother's Day.
Yeah. But back to the backdrops here, that it's a good point. There's another room with a beautiful piece of art that I sometimes take video calls from. I couldn't do the episode though from there because my father-in-law, I think he's watching the Phillies and the Giants maybe, or I don't know what he's watching.
Why?
Big baseball guy, you know.
I get it.
He's got me around now, so he just has to kind of fall in line and be able to be like, oh, that Bryce Harper, you know, that Camilo Doval, you know.
I guess he needs more ammo against you. All right, well, let's see fans at the ballpark this weekend. Maybe we'll see you all up at the Apple. Maybe we'll have some more signed balls for you all. Maybe we'll do some Twitter giveaways this week, John, and try to engage with the people more, get people more excited about Mets baseball and Meet at the Apple podcasts. But
100%.
Share the Harrison Bader interview. If you see a clip, make sure to give it a share. Our clip with Adam Ottavino is doing pretty well. We put out a clip with Jose Quintana eating the pastrami. Go check out the Jose Quintana interview because that was a really cool conversation.
Pastrami. How about that?
Oh, yeah. Definitely get the pastrami this weekend at Citi Field. I mean, Jose Quintana, professional athlete, doesn't put garbage into his body. Not only did he take a bite, he said he was only going to eat half, and then we watched him take the rest of the sandwich with him to eat. And then he brought it up later and said that was a really good sandwich. So, all right, guys, we will see you back here at the end of the Cardinals series. So that will be Thursday morning will be the next time you hear our beautiful voices. But thank you for listening, and we will see you all at the Apple.
Vito, were we going to the game on Tuesday night or what?
I'm down. I also might be going to the Knicks game on Wednesday.
Well, sounds like you have a busy day, a busy week at the Garden.
Yeah, I mean, I've not been to the Garden since. I haven't been to the Garden, I think, since pre-COVID, maybe. No, I saw Shania Twain there for a birthday party last year, but I haven't been to a sporting event at the Garden since pre-COVID. So
Shania Twain. Sounds like a good birthday party.
It was not my birthday party. I went to the birthday party. I was the only male invited to the party. It was I knew like 3 of the songs. That was cool. A lot of backing tracks, I'll say. I'll say, like, I don't know how authentic the vocals were during the performance, but that's, I'm here to talk about baseball. I'm not here to talk about performances.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.